This is another lesson on the modes, but what we're going to do here is we're going to take chords. We're going to take the harmonized chords in the 7 major modes. I got this from a book like 25, 30 years ago. Found it very interesting because there's 4 different types of chords. There's an inside chord on the 4 inside strings, and there's a bass chord on the first 4 strings. It's called a bass chord, and then there's an outside chord with the low E string, and then these 3 strings here, and then on the remaining 4 high strings it's a melody chord. I found this really interesting when you start to play in chord scales, because it covers the whole fretboard, and a lot of these chords kind of repeat the same shapes, but in time you can start substituting chords, and this gives you your harmony. You can find out that your 2-5-1, your pretty standard jazz progression. It just goes like, and there's just like a ton of stuff you can throw in there. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm going to show you the chord scale started from C, D, E, F, G, all the way up to C on each one. And so it goes D, or it goes C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G dominant, B minor 7 flat 5, and then C major 7. So here we go. Whoops, sorry. Or you can go. Okay, now we'll cover our bass chords. Okay, now we're going to do our outside chords. F major 7 if you want. Now the melody chords. So down here, this would be an E minor 7th, and then F major 7th. G dominant, A minor 7th, E minor 7 flat 5, and C major 7. So that covers the whole thing. I'll make some charts up so you can see the chord shapes. And I'll start showing you how to put chords in between here and highlighting things. Like, for instance, from here, you can go diminished in between each one. Or you can go with 11-9 chord, like this. Or like a flat 9, I think it is. Anyways, there's a ton of stuff you can do. I would work on my inside chords first because they sound nice and they're easy to play. But I mean, in time you should be able to start using bass chords. I mean, if you're playing with a piano player, you're probably going to want to do more bass chords or like an outside chord. And if you're playing with a bass player and you want to highlight your chords more, obviously you're going to play more melody chords, right? Stuff like that, right? But yeah, important thing too is like when you take a C major 7 chord, you play the scale under each chord, like, and then D minor, like looking at the modes, would be a D Dorian, and then E, well, that's E Phrygian, right? F major 7. That would be a Lydian. And then G would be a mixed Lydian. A minor scale, Aeolian. B minor 7 flat 5 would be a low Korean. And then finally C. I mean, do this with your bass chords. Well, obviously this chord, lowest chord, well, that's going to be an F Lydian. Right? And then, of course, when you go to your G, it's going to be a Mixolydian. And just go all the way up the scale. Play the chord with the scale all the way up. And try playing the arpeggio with it too, right? Part of it, and then play the first octave and then the second octave. Right. Anyways, I'll make some charts up. My next lesson I'll show you some substitution chords, passing chords, and in between chords you can throw in.